Wintie.
Hey!
Back at it again with that Otome bullshit.
We're bringing it on!
Bringing it up. We're moving on to other games. Oh my god, okay, that was embarrassing. Back at it again. Damn, Daniel. No, I'm just kidding. There's too many memes and TikToks happening right now. TikTok gets addicting. I don't know if you've ever been on it. Don't download it because then you'll just end up in a spiral of watching videos. It's much like Instagram.
I haven't done TikTok yet.
I have one TikTok and there's no views on it, and it's been on there for like 2 weeks. So there's that.
Aww.
It's me showing my BTS collection, so I mean, I'm like not surprised. It's nothing. I'm not doing anything informative or cool or unique. I'm just like, look what I've spent all my life savings on. No, I'm just kidding. It's a beautiful collection. Okay. Anyway, moving on. To Otome. Back on track. So we are going... Yes, welcome to Super Otome World now that I've just gone off the beaten path again. Derail me.
You're always derailing.
I know. Hi, my name is Gwen. I am joined by my friend Wintie. Wintie, hello.
Hello.
And this is the Super Otome World Podcast,
Woo!
where we talk about pretty much anything Otome related. Games, anime, probably mostly games from now on because we're addicted and that's what we do. I'm addicted to you. What?
Otome is life. That's my life.
It is. Absolutely. My husband just calls it your dating games, and I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. You're just jealous. But today we are talking about grand finale ruined. Cafe Enchante.
Yay! Which is the new game that just released by Aksys this year. One of the new games.
Yes, a month ago-ish?
Yeah, about
November. I think it was early November.
Yeah, I think so. I got mine early, though, because, I pre-ordered it, so.
Yeah, same. Actually, it's very beneficial to pre-order multiple games from Aksys Games because they only charge you shipping once, but they still ship it like that premium. Like, I did the $10 trackable premium shipping, and they did it for both, and I didn't have to pay for shipping on both.
Yeah, it was nice.
I was like, are they going to keep both games until both of them releases? I mean, I would be okay with that because I wanted to play Cafe Enchante before PO4A, so I was like kind of okay with it, but I was like, kind of want my game I spent money on already because they charge you when you pre-order.
Yeah, so they don't have you wait until they get it in. You get charged right then.
Right. A really good option for pre-ordering games, if it's available on their website, is Best Buy because they don't charge you till it's shipped, and most games that you pre-order will be guaranteed delivery on release day. And it's free.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. I did that with a lot of my games. I'm a little mad because there was a game that I pre-ordered that came out on November 5th, and I didn't get it for 3 days after it released when it was supposed to be. They used to ship with UPS, and then they suddenly shipped with FedEx, and then they took it all around the country and then delivered it to me, and I'm like, why?
Well, that sucks.
And I was really looking for, I played that game maybe for about an hour or two, and then I was like, I need to play Cafe Enchante before I get too sucked in.
Yeah, I was waiting for you.
Well, so I feel like Common Route takes so long for me to get through. Any Common Route with any Otome game, it's always dragging, pulling teeth to get me to get through that.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I have found a fellow Otome fan who also does the same thing. Who was it? Because I posted a comment on my Twitter and asked about how Otome Armada consumes their Otome. Pokepaw? How exactly did they say? Oh, okay. They said, I like to play, because I was asking people, do you because I said, I don't like paying per route. I'd rather pay, $40, $50 or $60 for an LE and like have the game. Like I don't want to pay for the premium version of this route. I'm like, just let me play, get good route, bad route, normal route. Like let me play whatever I route. Don't have me to pay more depending on how I want to end the. No, that's stupid. I don't like it. And they
Mhm.
agreed with me, and they said, I like to pay once for a full game and enjoy it at my own pace, which me as well. Which usually means takes forever to get to the plot twist and then devour the rest. And I was like, same, common route, who's she? And then I was like, oh, finally on a route. And I'm like, oh, it's getting there, it's getting there. But then when it starts to like get to like the peak, and then it's like all downhill from there, and then I want to do all the other routes. So it's like I have to get to like the exciting part in the first route, and then I want to like just bust out all the other routes. That's me.
Yeah, that was how it was in. I think I played Enchante like kind of just. I was a little bit better with this one than I was with Code Realize. Code Realize took me forever to
Yeah, it
finally
did, because you
finish.
just finished that what, like 3 months ago or 2 months ago or something.
Yes.
Girl's been playing it for like 5 years.
Well, you know, the prologue sometimes it's just like I understand the need for it to be so long to get you like the idea of like what the story is gonna be about, like where you're gonna go and stuff like that. But the exact same time, it's just like, you guys can make it just a little bit shorter. Just
Yeah.
just please.
So speaking of common route and how different common routes are different in different games, we will get to that. But let's talk about the characters. So if you would like, before we get to the characters, hold it up. Let me not jump the gun. Wintie, do you have like the description of this game?
So, Cafe Enchante, you play as the main heroine, Kotone Ayawaki, I think is her last name.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can change her name or not. I never tried. Okay, you can. Okay.
I think so.
So, but the main premise, I guess, is that you're the main character's grandfather owned a cafe, and the Kotone used to go to this cafe when she was younger. It was actually a really big part of her childhood, and unfortunately, her grandfather passed away. And so she comes into the cafe because she got a note from her grandfather telling her, giving her the option of what she wanted to do with the cafe. Either, take it up, or she just wanted to kind of like, just release it, get rid of the building, whatever she wanted to do. So she came over to the cafe that she hasn't been to in years, and to figure out, what she wanted to do with it. Which it has a lot of memories for her. Obviously, it was her grandfather and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But lo and behold, you've been figuring out that this cafe actually ends up having a secret like portal type entrance thing into different worlds in a closed off room, where she finds this door that allows other people from other realms to come into. And in comes the boys, and you meet that there's a whole bunch of guys coming to that cafe who are regulars, actually, who are from different realms. And that's kind of, I think that's the best way to kind of explain it without giving any spoilers right there.
Right.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just different realms. You meet the guys, and there is a government agency that's also in with the, they know about this secret door entranceway to different realms, and so obviously they're keeping their radar on the door as well. And so the main character girl has to decide if she wants to keep the cafe or if she wants to go ahead and let it go, or she wants to do anything with these other realm people. And that's what the main story, I think, is pretty much about.
Yeah. So when I first heard about this game, and that I don't think it just kind of says she inherits the cafe. Like, I didn't obviously know how it was going to start, and I just assumed that you're starting the game and she's running this cafe, and there's like would be a whole bunch of different types of people coming in. Like, I thought there would be more characters in her cafe, regardless if they were just like passerbyers where they didn't really have any sort of art or design to them at all. That's what I originally was expecting. So I was not expecting literally just like, what is it, 5 people that come to her cafe on a daily basis.
They also live there.
Well, Monsieur does. Well, let's talk about the characters then. So there's Canus. He is our first character we'll talk about. He is a dual hand, which, if you don't know, I think it's Irish or Scottish mythology. It's a headless person. And I guess depends on
fairy.
Yes, yes, he is a fairy. It depends on which mythology, or there's different versions of it, but there's, I think, a version where like a Dualahan has a head, and whoever has the head controls the Dualahan. I don't know, but he literally has no head. There's no head.
Mm-hmm.
It's just flames, or light, flames, colored flames. It's not hot flames, just flames, just magical fairy flames. So he is from the fairy world of Medio. When Canus removes his helmet, there's nothing to be seen or touched from the neck and above. Although his outward appearance seems like that of someone suspicious, he's sus. His personality is much like that of a noble knight. Honest and true, Canus is a good-natured person who can't ignore the weak or troubled people. He also likes to tend to the cafe garden in the back.
Mm-hmm.
So he has a green thumb. He has no head and a green thumb.
Yeah.
And our next character is Ignis. Would you like to introduce Ignis for us, Wintie?
Sure. So Ignis is a demon beast from Bestia. Ignis is a young werebeast who can control flames. He is also known as Bestia's strongest. He can be aggressive, quarrelsome, and quick-tempered. However, for a non-human, Ignis has a fair amount of common sense and a sense of duty.
So he's a tsundere, 100%.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Absolutely tsundere. Our next character is Ill, and Ill is a fallen angel from the heavenly realm. Ill is a very interesting and unique character into an Otome game, and we'll explain in a minute. Ill is a courteous, is that what it says? Courteous young man. Yeah. He's not young, he's old. And with a charming demeanor. Though he can be naive and slow, Ill has an excellent intellect. I feel like he portrays that he's dumb, and he's actually really, really smart. But
I agree. 100%.
I guess we'll find out. Due to his gentle nature and atmosphere, people are easily drawn in, wanting to care and pamper him. He tends to stay in his room and is quite fond of playing Otome games.
He is us, personified in a game.
Oh my gosh. It's so funny that that's like what all he wants to do. It's hilarious. I never thought we would have a character like this, let alone a fallen angel who likes to play Otome games. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how crazy is that? It's so funny to me. So next, Wintie, would you like to introduce our daddy?
Oh yeah, our daddy character over here is Karurundo.
100%
He's a
daddy.
middle-aged man who works for the government's Paranormal Measures Bureau, or GPM. Karu is in charge of monitoring Cafe Enchante and his patrons, though he is a regular customer himself. He's a gentleman with a calm manner and a hard worker, though he can be swayed a little bit by the regulars of the cafe. Yep.
And he's 45 or 42. He's older. He 100%, like, this is at least in the West, a localized Otome game that's by like a big Otome company that like we have a character like this. Like, major daddy vibes. I didn't think he was going to be a playable character, like, or a routable character.
Yeah, I thought he was just going to be kind of like a side character that was kind of, kind of like Saiki was in Color X Malice.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, he definitely has a full-fledged route. So that would be I'm very intrigued what his route is going to be about. So we'll get there. And next we have is Monsieur, who is the supreme demon king of the demon world, Asmodia. Monsieur is a coffee lover who visits Cafe Enchante every day. Although he is a demon and a ruler, he is very cheerful and friendly. He's
my boy. I already know I'm going to love him.
I know. You like the poster boys. I mean, I feel like, they make every shoe route, like, just you can't not love the true route. Like it's always done. They know how to make you fall in love with a character, and it's they do it quite well.
Yep.
So because you had mentioned that everyone lives there, but Monsieur doesn't. I don't think he has ever roomed there. Rindo does not.
Yeah,
Il pretty much lives there full time. I don't think he goes back to the Heavenly Realm at all. Ignis, I think he's there.
He's got a room there too.
Right. He has a room, but he's not there permanently. He actually shares a room. Does he share a room?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No, because Canus has his own room too. So Canus, Ignis, and Il are the ones that have rooms, and they actually pay for their rooms.
Yes, and Il is there full time. I would say Canus and Ignis are there part time or maybe less. Yeah. Just depends. So we are going to talk about some side characters that we run into. You run into all these characters in the common route. So there's nothing here that you're not going to see in the common route. So, so in the characters we have is Titania, who she is the fairy queen of Medio.
I gotta say, I love her spray. It's so pretty. Like,
I know. Even when it's like that distance one where it looks like a water painting, it looks really cute. I probably should have put Venia next to her. Venia is her sibling. Yes, I won't say how, but because we'll get there. And then there is
Karia.
Yes.
Karia.
And he will explain him later. I don't want to explain him right now. Mikado Akira, who is literally a mad scientist. I love his hair though. Love his hair. Yeah. Hair goals. And then there's Dromi. He is from the Beast World, Beastia, so he knows Ignis. Oh, and Titania and Vinya are from the Fae world. Mikado is human. He works for the GPM. That GPM?
Yeah.
GMP. And then there's Kororo, who is so freaking cute.
Oh God, I love him.
He's adorable. He is from Beastia. He is adorable. And then there's the very secretive Mikado's assistant, which doesn't have a name, at least yet, but he seems super suspicious.
Did he not have a name? I thought he had a name.
No, they just keep calling him assistant.
Oh, don't they? Oh,
yeah, Mikado's, he just says, "This is my assistant." He goes, "I'm Mikado's assistant." And he either calls him assistant or everyone just calls him Mikado's assistant. At least that's what the translation says. So I don't know if maybe secretly we should know his name, but the subtitles don't say a name. So he has no name.
Yeah. Right.
So these are a cast. Yeah, so these are the cast of characters. So we're going to talk about the common route. So if you haven't played this game and just wanted an introduction to the game, I would bounce on out of here. But now we're going to start talking about the common route of the game, which essentially is main character finds out her grandpa's dead. She has inherited this cafe. She goes to visit the cafe to see what she wants to do. I feel like when she initially goes to the cafe, she probably doesn't want it because she doesn't know what to do with a cafe, you know?
Yeah, I kind of got the feeling that she was just kind of going there just for memory's sake to kind of see what it looked like again because she hadn't been there in years.
Right. Or find clues about her grandpa or something. We figured out though that the main character girl was in a really bad job environment, a very toxic environment. Yeah, that's what she came into the cafe kind of dealing with on the side. Exactly. So she enters the cafe, she starts exploring, and she finds a room or a door that says employees only. She goes, "Well, I guess I'm an employee now because it's my cafe."
She doesn't remember this room either.
Yeah, she has no idea what this room is.
Behind think it was what you call it?
Just a door. Just says employees only.
Wasn't it hidden though? I think I kind of remember it.
It was kind of like
hidden.
in the corner. Like it wasn't like out in the open. It was kind of like off to the side.
Yeah.
So she opens the door and finds this door that just has a thing that says open closed. So she's like, I wonder what happened if I open it. Well, lo and behold, she opens it. Oh shit, that's her grandpa. I forgot about that.
Well, that's her grandpa.
I'm slow. Anyway, that's her grandpa. That's her as a child. Cute, fun, adorable moment. I should have gone to that slide next. I forgot what slide it was. I need to have like a dual screen so I can see what's next and not act like a dingus, you know. But that's her grandpa making coffee and she's watching him. But hey, the first thing that comes through the door when she opens it is Monsieur. And I was just like, I love the CG. So I find him super suspicious. I feel like he knows a lot more than he's playing off to be about everyone in the game. He literally, like, so you find out as you play this game that she's had encounters with all the characters well before she was an adult. Like when she was a kid, they were already like not guests, not residents, or I guess guests. They were guests of a regular at the cafe already, even as she was a child. So they all kind of know who she is already. So he literally comes jumping out of this door and like instantly just embraces her and is like, oh my gosh, I've missed you. He's like blushing. He's like he's instantly in love with her.
Forgot about her meeting Kotone first though, because like in the beginning, like Ignis and Canus and Il also said like they didn't seem to recognize her at all.
Oh, but Monsieur absolutely knows who she is.
Yeah, he knew who she was
instantly. Like he is instantly love at first sight kind of moment, and I'm just like, you're killing me, Smalls. You're absolutely killing me. Okay, so that's what happens. They have a kind of an awkward moment for Kotone to handle, and then sure enough, everyone else comes busting out of that door. So, and I love how they're all like no normal clothes, just busting out, just full on garb.
Yeah. One thing we do figure out is the door. People can only come through this said door if it actually says open on the open and close sign. So when it says closed, nobody can actually come through this portal. And then when it said open, they actually can.
And the people like Il can't use the door to be able to get to like Bestia, where Ignis is from, or Medio, where Canus is from. Like he can't open the door himself and get to those realms. He can only open the door to get to his realm.
Yeah.
So if he wanted to go to Medio, he would have to be like, hey, Canus, open the door, let's go to Medio, to be able to get there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a failsafe. But since this is a portal, apparently there's also wormholes that randomly appear and suck people in and transfer them to. That's such a strange thing to have, in my opinion. I don't know. The whole wormhole thing seems super weird. That like, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it shouldn't be as a common occurrence. Like in some worlds, like it sounds like right now, like there's not a lot of wormholes linking between like Monsieur's realm and anywhere else. Like I feel like that's just no one really knows about his realm and his world like at all. Apparently they happen all the time in Bestia. That so far you don't know why at all. So yeah, there's apparently fallen angels or any angels are very, very, very uncommon. So to like encounter if you know about like the different realms and everything. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the whole wormhole thing. Maybe it will get explained better in another route or over time, but so far I think it's weird. The whole wormhole thing. Hold on, let me. Okay. So we surely we start to learn about the characters, and so I've created a little collage of the characters, and I feel like these are different scenes that like you have to like interact with each character, like to learn a little bit about them, kind of a thing, in my opinion. I don't know if you got the same kind of feeling or vibe. Like she goes shopping with Canus and someone takes a selfie of them and like finds out that like everyone loves him and he's super nice and he helps everyone around town, and you know, everyone calls him Helmet Man, even though he says that's not my name. They're like Helmet Man, Helmet Man. And it's but and then you totally see a complete meat eating or just food devouring Ignis and his much high intensified tsundere side. With Rindo, you just kind of go on a drive with him, I think, or maybe he takes you out to like dinner or like ice cream or something. I can't quite remember. But you sit in his car and you talk a lot with him, and you ask him a whole bunch of questions, and you just kind of like get to know him. So it's like, you know, he's not a extravagant man, but he's kind of looks like he's got a sports car going on. He's doing well for himself for a middle-aged old man. Ill, you have found out that you see Ignis on the floor there in the upper left-hand corner. He tried to get Ill to come out of his room, and Ill was in complete Otome euphoria and beat the snot out of him. So he's passed out on the floor, and Ill is enjoying his Otome game on his Switch. Which is really funny because when he comes back from the Heavenly Realm after not being able, I don't know how long they were like not able to get to the human world. But he was like, my packages, my Otome games, my everything. Like, he's like, I should have this like special Otome game. Like, he's like trying to like make sure like stuff that his merch and stuff that he's purchased is like not missing.
Yep.
Or not undeliverable, kind of a thing. And then you have a really cute moment with Monsieur as he kind of teaches you how to make coffee, and then he makes coffee via his magic. So cute little moments, in my opinion. So after he made all the cast of characters and everything,
I do gotta get this out though, because the prologue, like I still kind of find the prologue really weird. So like in Color X Mouse, like for example, like and like Code Realized too, like there was like a main point to the story, and in this prologue, I feel like it was just like so like just
chill.
so random. Everything was just like it was almost like 3 different stories per prologue.
Yeah,
it was weird.
Yeah, it didn't quite.
So I had no clue like where the story was going. I was like, where are we going with this?
Yeah, it is really weird because you meet the characters and then she learns about their connection to everything, and they encourage her to keep the cafe. So then she decides to keep the cafe, and then she's like going through all the paperwork to be able to keep the cafe and going through that. And then they celebrate, and then randomly that's how she runs into all the agents, GMP. They try to like buy the cafe off of her and then try to like attack her and her guests, all her mystical friends. And it's like, you really think you're gonna put up a fight between any of these people? Like, they're all supposedly like the strongest of their realm, and like Ill is just a fallen angel, so he's just like a powerhouse in and on itself. So it's like, human beings, come on, let's not be stupid now. But then it kind of like, she goes through that, and then it switches gears, and then Ill wants to do something, so you go to the aquarium, and you don't actually ever get to the aquarium because a minotaur comes busting out through all these cars, so then you have to escape. And it's like, there's a lot of just random thing, like especially even like when you get to the island, and like That's
And you
what
do have little parts where you go to every single, except for Mizer's world, you don't go to his, and you don't go to Ill's, but you do get, in the prologue, you do get to go to Media, or
Well,
Medio,
yeah.
and you meet, and then you also get to go to Beastia, and those ones.
Yeah, but it's just like, because they were like, oh, you get to open the cafe. Well, let's go to one of our worlds, and the safest one would be Medio. So you just go to Medio, and then you like get there.
Yeah,
But
because
then,
she wanted to get to know her people, so they want her to let her go to like, the safest place. Um, and they chose Medio, and then she went to Beastia because of who Ignis
well,
brings back. He brings back little Kororo.
right, and she wants to meet up with, find his family again, and then disaster
Yeah.
happens there, and it gets sad, and then they try to cheer her up, and then they go on these apparently awkward dates, and Canus doesn't really have a date, does he?
Wait, Canus. Wait, does he have a date?
I don't
I
think,
don't.
because
No,
I
yeah,
got
he
confused
takes
because
her somewhere.
you go on a date with Ill, like full. Well, I mean, I wouldn't really consider it a date. You go to like an Otome like meetup merch party. Like I wouldn't really consider that a date. I don't know. I don't think you go on a date with Canus.
Didn't they go to like a flower shop? Or maybe I'm like losing it.
Oh, that's right. They do go to the flower shop because that's when his flames start to have like flower shapes in them.
Hmm.
It was so freaking cute. But like Canis, it feels like it reminds me a lot of oh, hold on. Okay, I just want to make sure it wasn't like an important message. But like I feel like the prologue or the common route favors Canis a lot. In my opinion. I don't know if you got that same feeling as
Yeah,
I
there's
did.
like a lot more stuff that kind of covered Canus. Well,
Right, because
yeah.
like you go to Medio and you have like this cute moment where he's like, I don't have a face, but it's there. I do have a face, just it's just invisible. Like you can't touch it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like I don't know. Like I feel like this would be something that you would see in like his route, which we're going to talk about because that's the first character we're going to talk about, but like it's just I don't know. Like it kind of reminded me a little bit of Psychedelica the Black Butterfly because I feel like in the beginning of that in Common Route favored can't remember his name, the one with like the white or silver hair.
Monchero?
No. Wait. I don't
Yamato?
remember. Hold on. Let me get my game because there's art cards, right? There's art cards.
Yeah, Yamato. I'm thinking Monchero, Yamato.
I have to look. It's been so long. Yamato. I feel like it favors him a lot in the prologue.
I don't remember that.
Oh,
It's been a while since I played that game, but
I think it does, but I won't spoil it in case someone hasn't played it yet. That's how I felt. Like it kind of favored him a little bit. So I feel like it was heavy,
Mhm.
heavy. Like even though you go to Beastia, but I feel like you don't have like. I mean, I guess you kind of have a cute moment with Ignis and Beastia in the common route, but it's like not the same as like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah, so like in the prologue, it covers like lots of like different little things and stuff like we get to, and they kind of like follow each other. Like so after she decides to take up the cafe, and then she decides, to get to know her people, and she goes to Medio. Right after she goes to Medio, that's when she meets Karia, Abe Karia, who we end up figuring out he is a, they called him a changeling, I think it was what they called him.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah.
was like part human, part fairy, and he's an ice fairy. So like, and we figured out that he has to go to Media. He ends up having to go to Media so he can actually live. Like, so he's related strongly to Kenneth, and actually, it's really adorable. He kind of gets, um, Canus kind of almost becomes like his older brother in a way, which is really cute. And then you figure out about Beastie. And then then they go to the aquarium because Il wanted to go for the Otome. There was an Otome scene he wanted to go to that same exact aquarium for, and that's when the beast from Beastia attacks. And then that Ignis comes home with Kororo, and then they go to this place trying to find Kororo's parents, and then they find out that whole thing's dead. And then after that, they keep looking for them, and that's when you meet another part of Ignis's story, and then so they all kind of follow each other. And kind of cover each guy a little bit here and there in the prologue. But I thought it was really weird. I was like, the whole time I was playing it, I was trying to trying to figure out where is this story going. I was just like, is there a main point to the story? Is there not? And really, there's kind of not a main point other than the cafe being open.
Right.
That's like the same in everything, but everything else has like their own kind of like story. The only thing that I think may be a big plot is how Kotone keeps hearing that like squealy noise every now and then. And I think that's like the only thing that we have that's kind of like that could be considered kind of like a what's going to happen.
I feel like there's a whole nother character. I feel like there's a whole nother very important character we don't know about yet.
Probably, but like I was just like the whole time I was just trying to figure out. I was like, I have no clue going.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of yeah.
So I kind of talked about him already there too.
Yeah, we talked about him, and he's a changeling is what they explain is someone who, like, I guess, isn't fairy born, but like a fairy takes its body.
Takes the human's place. A fairy that replaces a human. That's the technical term, is like a fairy who like takes the human's place. But in this term, they made it like he was part human, part fairy. His family, his grandma,
like the fairy changed him into a fairy. So like he's sick. He kind of doesn't know how to control his power and his ice and everything. And so like his original parents like abandoned him, but like he finds these people who adopt him and like fully accept him and like are super cool. Like, can we not like meet his like adoptive parents, because like they seem like pretty freaking awesome in my opinion.
I agree.
So, but this is kind of like an intense, and like Rindo, it just kind of like puts himself out there because like he wants to protect him. Like a lot of people think like the organization that he's in is kind of like, it gives off like a thing like they want to control, and like there's probably people who do, but he literally wants to be there to like protect and help people of another world. So, but yeah, so that's kind of a little intense moment there of him freaking out, and so he like unleashes his powers, and it just kind of gets overwhelming.
Yeah, and he nearly kills Rindo there. Rindo gets rally.
Right. Yeah.
But he's like, the whole time he's just like not blaming Karia for what's going on. It was yeah.
After that, they do go to Beastia to find that little Munchkin's family.
Yeah.
And that's when you find out, like, you learn about the actual, like, cruelty of Beastia, because, oh, wait, what? Okay.
It's a dog-eat-dog world over there in Beastia.
Right.
Like, the strongest wins. The strongest is the ones that get to survive. If you're not strong enough to protect yourself, you're pretty much dead in that world. And it's really, really sad and how it's really bad there. Because, like, you just see, I guess, death is a very common thing in Beastia.
Yeah.
It's also frigid cold there, which, like, I'm like, oh, God, that sucks.
Right. Yeah, no. But after that, they do manage to come back, and now he's a permanent resident. Okay. Now that little creature is a permanent resident, but So since Kotone saw his family be like murdered and everything, she gets like kind of depressed about it. So they all decide to like take her on dates.
Ill's
And
idea.
right. And then they're like, okay, Ill, it's your turn. You have to do it. And he's like, but it was my idea. I didn't think I would have to do it. They're like, no, Ill, you have to do it. So he does. And that's when they go to the Otome like meetup. But then they have like creeper guys creeping on Kotone. So Messire randomly comes out of nowhere because like he doesn't trust Ill to go anywhere in public without someone with him. So he of course stalked him from like the shadows, most likely. And then like causes like smoke, and then he like flies away and takes Kotone with him, and she's freaking the hell out, thinking, "Oh my god, I'm gonna fall, I'm gonna die." So there's that.
Yeah, I think that's like probably so far my favorite CG of Ill. It's just so pretty.
It is pretty. But then it gets better because then they go and like they fly away. They get out, like the sun's setting. Like, ooh, it's so pretty. He's like, let me take you to watch the sunset or whatever. And then like this happens and they're on a rooftop, and I'm just like, oh, it's so good.
Yeah, this is also when you get to see him kind of like use his powers, like his very robotic sounding powers, in my opinion. We'll figure out how
his singing.
Like, well, like whenever he uses his power, like you see like zeros pop up, kind of like code. I'm like, I just like it sounds very robotical. And then how he uses like words like commence and stuff like that before he uses his power. I don't know if possibly he may be like a robot angel. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't think he's a robot angel. Come on now. Oh my god.
You never know.
He's not. Oh my god. You're a mess.
I am.
Yeah, I am.
But we first talk about his room, though. His room. I want his room.
Oh my god, we'll have to do that then. When we talk about him, we'll give you a tour of his room. Room tour. Hey guys, it's my room tour. Follow me. I keep clicking out of it. Okay, so after you go on the dates and she's realizing that they're trying to cheer her up, and she knows she's happy about it and everything. They decide, oh wait, no. What happens is Brindo hasn't been around for a while, and like, what's going on? And then what's his name again? I forgot his name. The mad scientist kid.
Oh, Mikado.
He's like, oh, he's on a mission. They're like, so Kotone freaks out. She's like, oh my god, I have to find out if he's okay. So she calls him. It doesn't work. So then they find out like what's going on, and like she sees the news and she sees there's like disaster on this island near like her hometown. So she gets worried about her parents. So there's like this weird scene where she's like asleep. But she like randomly wakes up and it's like that very mechanical like voice sound happening. And she just starts walking to the door. So in theory, she shouldn't be able to open that door. It should just be empty when she opens it, in theory, I would think. Mm-hmm. So it should just be empty. Well, she goes through it and she gets thrown onto the island that has all these like, mysterious monsters appearing and stuff like that. Doesn't know how she gets there. Doesn't even know that she like walked through the door at all.
Yeah.
But she meets like the residents there that look like little like pottery things. They're kind of adorable. But like I guess that's like where they relocated them. Like that was like their inhabitant or whatever. So then like of course you meet up with Brindo because he's there and he explains
that's where he was at, yeah.
Right. These crazy things that are like zombie monsters coming through like this quote unquote wormhole that doesn't look like a wormhole. It just looks like a crack in the sky. And they keep just like spewing out like every hour. Like they kill them and then like with it, like on the dot, they just come back. There's more. So of course the regulars find her. They're there. And the crack opens up. Monsieur's like, well, let me use my power. But it actually is kind of interesting because he uses his power, but then he looks like he's severely hurt. Like he flinches a little bit.
He seemed to know.
He knows what that
about
is.
That crack was. It seemed to be something that was like really heavily applied for like probably what's going to happen in his story, because he seemed to know what those were.
Right. He knew exactly what those things were. He knew, and then since he used his magic, it felt aggressive, or it felt like something was attacking it. So like this ginormous like arm comes out and tries to like just smash them. So because of that, the military's like, let's just blow up the island. And it's like, blowing up the island isn't going to stop the hole in the ceiling. Like, come on, guys. Let's think about it. So
that's totally what the military decided to do, though.
That's such an American military thing to do that I was like, really? The Japanese military is going to do that? I mean, it just feels like a very American thing to just blow it up. Like,
yeah, I totally agree.
So they want to prevent it because they haven't found all the creatures that are living there. So they devise this plan. Ignis throws up this like wall of fire, and I don't know what everyone's exact duties are, but Musier's like, Kotone, you have to stay near me, so she does, and he just like his powers are like magic, or like it's like a piano.
That was pretty cool.
Right. So that was quite interesting. And then
that noise that Kotone heard in this one before she went to the island, forgot to mention she did hear that same noise as well when she first went to Medio as well. That's how she ended up being separated from everybody else. Yeah, so this is we've heard that single weird staticky noise we heard more than once, multiple times in the prologue. So we didn't hear it in the route though. I don't think, did we? I don't think we did. It didn't pop up again, did it?
No. I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, at least in Candace's route. It's probably an important one in Mizer's route. I have
Monsieur, not Miser.
Whatever.
It's Monsieur. Like French, Monsieur. Miser. This makes me think of something else from a different game that I'll tell you later. But so he defeats it. He closes the wormhole. He uses a lot of his magic. You know, the military is like, "Hey, where's the danger?" And they're like, "No more danger." They're like, "Okay, peace out." Like, just the end. So that's pretty much like the end of Common Route, I guess. There's a lot that's like super random, but I feel like probably each thing that happens has something that links them to. Like, because there's that one time when you're at the Otome meetup, there's a guy that says, "Oh, ill, you've fallen so far." Like, you don't see him. Like, that's all it says. It's just like one little, "Oh, ill, you've fallen so far." So, like, that is a little suspicious and very interesting, I think. So there's people who are spying on Ill. I feel like Ill is probably running away. I don't think he wants to go back home.
Yeah, I found that too.
Let's see. And then obviously with Rindo, you find more about GMP and stuff like that. So what else would you be doing? What else would you be learning about? Like I feel like maybe that's where you learn about Mikado's, like maybe he's the enemy in Mikado's route. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The assistants. It's always the quiet ones. And then Monsieur, I totally think it has something to do with that hand or where it's connected to, even because they say it's an unknown world. So I don't know if it's an unknown world that he knows about or if it's actually from his world and he just doesn't want people to know.
Yeah, the only thing we figure out about his world is he said there's miasma, a lot of miasma, and there are some humans who live in his world, but it's very, like, not that many. And I think he said something like that miasma, whatever, it kills people, like, it's bad for people. So yeah, that's all, like the only thing we kind of like we just heard, like little bits and pieces of his world, but not for much.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the end of Common Route. Or no, well, based off of me thinking each event happens links to something in their route. What do you think? Like, do you think there's anything that pops up that would link to like Ignis's route or maybe part of Ignis's route?
Well, possible. I mean, let's just cover out. Like, well, his those ox things. Were they ox? Or there were something. Like
Minotaurs.
giant cows. Yeah, minotaur things. Like
Cows.
apparently, there's like
super aggressive.
Yeah, they were. They're all obviously out to get Ignis because he's like the strongest. And I feel like they have like probably like a. They probably have like a main big squeeze in their group or something, probably following somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why they know where he is. Because that was one thing, yeah. In Ignis is in the prologue, we figured out that they know somehow they keep finding where Ignis is, no matter where he is in Bestia. That he always ends up being found. So that's probably one thing that will probably be clarified in Ignis's route.
Yeah.
But him with Koro, which, Aksys. The amount of times that they freaking messed up with his Kokoro's name and they put Kokoro, it's like, would you guys stop? I saw it happen like once. I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's just like one mistake. But then there was like one time they literally
can't
like
they
did
do
it,
like control
one
alt
after
F?
another.
Like, have they not? I mean, I don't know how like their script is like appears, but can't you do like control alt F and like find all of like that misspelling and like change it? Like,
probably, I don't
you
really
can
know
do that in
where.
Open Office, which is a free platform. Pretty sure they're probably using a premium. Come on.
I mean, like, just like it was like there's not an excuse for how many times they did it. Like, like once, okay, I'll give you like the the pardon.
Benefit of the doubt.
Twice, okay, you're fine-ish. But like if like after they did it like one after another, it's just like this is ridiculous.
When it starts to be something you notice, that's when it starts to be an issue.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's another story. But now since we're done with Common, we can move on to Ignis. Or not Ignis, Canus. I'm a hot mess.
Yeah. We
So,
are following a walkthrough though. Let's put that off to everybody. We'll put the link of the walkthrough that we are currently following for anybody else who didn't know about a walkthrough or something like that. And we're just kind of following like the way that the person who listed it has it listed.
like their suggested route order. We're playing it via a suggested. I feel like there's always some form of suggested route order. A lot of people say there isn't one for this, but I don't know. There's always an order that best flows with what you learn with the story, like how we talked about Collar and Malice about if I mean, especially with one certain character, it would kind of feel like other routes are a little lackluster because you know things that you aren't supposed to know in another route.
Yep.
But so we started with Canus, our headless man, our headless knight.
Canus Espada.
Espada, yes, he's apparently Spanish. I was like, oh, okay, that's a very, very Spanish name. So the first moment that you have is you go to quote unquote wake him up because he's supposed to help pot some plants, and he is not asleep. He is fully awake. So she starts poking where his cheek would be, and his plan of letting Katona do what she wants to him by poking his face. Hold on, what's his name? I forgot his name. I'm so bad with names.
Arya.
Yes, Karya is like, he's not asleep. He can kind of see his face. He's like, I can kind of see his face. It's there. He's awake. And it was just like disaster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I really do appreciate that, like, the fact that he has no head, at least that they went ahead and, like, put, like, the different colors on his flame so you can kind of go ahead and see, like, his emotions and stuff like that. Yeah. I like that they did that because, like, Not gonna lie, like when I forgot that this guy had no head, when Gwen told me about that he had no head, and showed me a picture of it, I was just like, I'm not gonna like this. Like, why would you make a story with a guy with no head? Why?
Like, for an Otome type of game, like, you would have to, like, work really hard to make a route that was enjoyable to somebody where you can't even see, like, their face, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think they definitely did a good job of doing that, though.
I agree.
So that was definitely good that they did that. Sorry, distraction.
Yeah.
So that was a cute little moment. I don't know why I have this here. It's just there because there's not much of Tatiana as like an actual CG, so she's there. You actually, I guess with this, you kind of learn who Canus is, like what that he like inherited a job. He inherited a role. Like it wasn't something that he wanted to do. He inherited a role, I guess, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't know his role yet. But you know he has inherited a role because you learn that fairies aren't really born; they just kind of uh, materialize. I don't know.
Yeah, they pretty much just materialize.
They just kind of are.
Mm-hmm.
So you learn a lot about Titania and her role, and Katone goes and have tea parties with her all the time and tells her all the like the cute girly gossip, and it's like one of, I would say, Titania's favorite thing to do is have tea with Katone.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, Vinya decides to come to the cafe to learn about the um, regulars to tell stories to Titania. You also learn that Titania, because pretty much Katone asks Titania, "What is your pronouns?" Like essentially, that's what she asks, and they explain that fairies don't have pronouns or genders; they just are who they are. So
Mm-hmm.
they were like, "You can call me she, he, they, them. It doesn't matter." Um, so Katone decides to call Vinya him. So he would be Titania's, considered Titania's brother because they materialized at the same time. So they considered themselves as siblings.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh, Venia did only start going to the cafe. Gonna throw this out because it's gonna be explained a little bit later. But he only started going to the cafe though after Katona told Titania about what happened on the island.
yes, all the residents are very, very strong individuals
Yes.
and can bust some ass. Okay. So because he finds out how strong they are, his secret agenda is to find out how strong they are and to recruit them to help Medio. Because Medio, you find out that Canus's role as the Doulahan is, he always says he's the fairy of death, fairy of death, fairy of death, I bring death. And all the fairies fear him. Well, his role is to kill fairies. He says that he sees their death and then initiates the death. When in actuality, it is Titania, Venya, are deciding what fairies to kill, and then sends Canus to go and kill them to be able to appease the world tree, because the world tree has consumed all resources on the entire
Well, we
world.
figured out that the world of Media is the world tree. So,
well, yeah. Well, that's because it's consumed everything that there is nothing but the world tree. It's consumed absolutely every resource and everything that it has become the world in and on itself. And because of that, it needs more energy to consume to live, so they kill fairies to be able to appease it. And that is also why Titania is called the World Tree's Bride, or the Tree Bride, right?
Yeah. Well, we also do figure out that this world tree was actually not originally a fairy thing. It was not actually from Medio. It was actually it was a human world plant that was actually planted on Medio ground soil. And of course, since it was a regular plant, it was obviously at first just consuming, water and sunlight, like a normal plant. But eventually, because it grew, like it just like took to the world of Medio so well, it grew so big, and then that's why, obviously, sunlight and water was no longer enough for it, and that's when it started like wanting like sustenance, and started taking like life force for it.
Right, and it's because Titania, she's like connected to the tree, and she's not providing enough energy or sustenance for it, so that's when they started killing the fairies. Uh-oh. Did I lose you? Oh, okay. You got really quiet, so I was like, uh-oh. Did I lose you? So that's kind of like the hard truth to learn. And then because Canus is like that, and he's in Medio, and Katone's there with Ill, and they decide, oh, well, we're supposed to meet up with Canus, and then they see Canus in the background. They go and fly over to Canus, and then see Canus just killing a fairy, so then that sets her off, and then she starts acting super weird, and then Canus is like, WTF, mate? What's going on? So then that's when he finds out, so then completely pushes her away, and a complete dick, if you ask me, because he's like, takes her to his like pretty place where it's like, you see all the waterfalls and everything. He's like, I want you to never talk to me ever again. I'm never coming to the cafe. And it's like, way to be like a mood buster. Okay.
Yeah, no, like he literally like tells her, because like Kotone was like trying to make the cafe hers, and obviously like it's not her grandfather's cafe anymore, and so everybody has kind of like kind of grown past that. They know it, and she thought that Canus was as well, but then he like kind of like really like punctured her, like telling her, you're not running the cafe like your grandpa did. Your grandpa never butted into my business, and you should too. You should not butt into my business. How my life is, how my world is, has nothing to do with you. And that's kind of what he was like saying. And I remember at that scene, I was like, it hurt. I was like, why do you have to be such a dick?
Yeah.
She's worried about you. And obviously, like, and then telling her that she's not like her grandpa. She knows she's not like her grandpa. You don't have to say that. That was like, oh, that hurt.
Kind of was like, duh, I understand that, but you don't have to act like that. So.
Yeah, but after that, he never, they separated ways. Obviously, she was really, really hurt. Kotone even started crying in front of him. That hurt so much. And so they separated ways, and he stopped coming to the cafe completely. Obviously, she couldn't face him, but she was really, really depressed over what happened. And then she talks to Mizir and Mizir.
Mizir.
She talks to Mizir and all the other guys, and yeah, pretty much like tell her that she needs to talk to Canus about how she feels. Because they could tell it was bothering her. Not leave it like just like that. And I remember there was like two options. Obviously, there was the option of just not. That was the bad end, the very first bad end we actually could get. Just choosing to not butt into Canus. It's the same way what he said was right, and that's where you get the bad end. You never see Canus again.
Yep. So then she gets super depressed and sad, and she's like, I live with it. And then Mizir is like, but do you want to live with it? And she was like, yeah, no. So then they come up with a plan to go to Medio, and that's when they like find out how bad it is.
Mhm.
And everything. So they get there, and Canus is still being a Canus.
Yeah.
So she tries to snap him out of it and has a moment with him and tells him to shut up and look at her because he's
Mhm.
not listening.
Yeah, because he's like refusing to pretty much listen to her and like that. I loved this scene.
Yep.
Like how she like was just like shut up. Like he was not like he just was not letting her talk at all. He was just like, no, you know, you shouldn't be here. Our worlds have nothing to do with each other. You're just the cafe, you're just the owner and stuff like that. Obviously, we know that he was trying to protect her, and that's why he pushed her away. And also, he just didn't really like the fact of somebody he cares about actually seeing him as a killer. But they needed this talk. And when she told him to shut up, I was like, "Go, Kotone."
Listen to me. It's pretty much what she said. So he did, and hold on. Okay. So he did, and then so they have a moment, and he explains, how important her cafe is and everything, and pretty much it's like that's the moment where he was like, yeah, I'm into you. Like finally kind of like that's what I got out of this moment was that
Yeah.
he was actually expressing his true feelings.
Yeah, it's just constantly. He was just like, okay, I love you. I'm just going to continue to say a whole bunch of embarrassing things one after another.
I know.
And I don't think he realized he's like the type of person who's just like, could say like all like the most cheesiest lines ever and probably the stoic face of that too.
Oh yeah, he's definitely that character who like would say all the romantic things, and it's like everyone is there. They're like, dude, this is kind of embarrassing. He's like, what's so embarrassing about it? I'm just sharing my love about her, and it's like, yeah, but it's weird.
Yeah. Oh my god. But we do figure out in Canus's route, like how we figured out that Titania was the World Tree Bride. That this was not the first time. That there's been plenty of World Tree Brides. Actually, she's just like one of many that has actually been there. It's been a terrible tradition that's happened now in Midio, where there's always been like another person selected for the World Tree Bride, and they make it seem like a really, really nice, elaborate thing. Obviously, because apparently the World Tree, but when it doesn't get enough souls, it starts attacking people.
Yeah.
And trying to take souls away, killing fairies left and right. So to do, that's what they made the World Tree Bride a thing, choosing the most strongest fairy, whatever, to be the life force pretty much for the tree to keep them from attacking people. And so they just continue choosing a new fairy every single, however long it takes for all their life force to drain and they die. So, yeah, we don't know how they didn't really clarify how many tree brides were before Titania's time, but obviously plenty of them. So,
yeah, and this also is when you learn that there's another sibling who used to be the Doulahan, and they were actually trying to destroy the World Tree, and because she was trying to destroy the World Tree, she caused major damage to it, which required more energy than just the World Tree Bride. So that's when they had to start killing all the fairies, and that's how
that's when it
Canus
started.
Right, and that's how Canus was born, is because she died, and then he became the new Doulahan.
Yeah, right off the bat too. Like I remember, he was like apparently he looked like he was born at the time that the World Tree was attacking people again. So he decided he got born with the memories from the previous Doulahan. So then he just automatically knew that what he had to do was kill fairies. And were you expecting this at all? Like I was not.
Yeah, I didn't think so, because like I know, like I've read a lot of stories that use like the fairies and the fae, and like I've never encountered any like this version like at all. So I was not expecting this like in the slightest. Like normally with fairies you have like the Seelie and the Unseelie. So the Seelie would be like the happy, cheerful ones, and the Unseelie ones are kind of not the nice, so nice ones. So like that's like when I learned about that, I was like, oh, it's Tanya. Like, yeah, she's, I know I'm geeking out over here, but technically Titania, I believe, is from the Unseelie court, which would be like the bad fairies or like the mean
really?
fairies. I mean,
I
at
don't
least
know.
in what I've read and seen and stuff like that. But I mean, it's kind of up to interpretation probably, and
Probably.
what version and what country and era or decade that you read it as. But yeah, that's what I'm a little normal to, because like this one there's no like good or bad fairies. They're all just kind of like, I mean, they just don't know like how to treat a human, because one of them tries to push Kotone like off a cliff and to her demise. But I mean, it's like they've never met a human before, so they didn't know, you know, so they had no idea. Let me see the next slide. Okay, so because of that, so everyone's there, they devise a plan, they go to try to save Medio and destroy the tree. And in the mix of it all, they take Kotone back. Kotone's at the cafe by herself. And Benya, right? No, this is before they start doing all that. Benya gets her before and brings her back. Wait,
Yeah,
hold
no,
on.
she goes to the cafe. So no, they all don't, nobody else pops up. No, it's just Canus and her, like she goes to see Titania. Venya
Right,
tells her like, yeah, to go see Titania.
Venya somehow convinced her to come to Medio, but there's the reason why she gets taken is because there's no one else there. So she was there and then she came back.
I'm trying to remember.
I know,
I
like
think,
I'm having
I'm trying. So I think. Oh no, yeah. So everybody else is gone in their worlds, and Venya comes to the cafe and then like tells her that you know, that he tells her that something's going on with Titania. I think he like, yeah, he tells her something's wrong with Titania, and that, you know, she has all the strong people of Cafe Enchante, and you know, she tries to ask Kotone if she can actually see if they can all help. So Kotone goes back to media with him to go ahead and devise a plan to see what they can, how all of them could help, and I think she was going to come and talk about it with them, I think.
So I'm trying to remember. So when they devise a plan to like help Medio, how did she get by herself where she ends up in the throne room? Or is she just in the throne room because that's where the safest spot is? I can't remember. How did she get in the throne room?
No, she was there to go ahead. She was talking to Titania.
Right, because Titania gets surprised by her. Like, why are you here? So she must have gone back to the cafe. Everyone must have stayed. She must have gone back to the cafe. And somehow Venya lures her back. No.
All I remember is like
it's
I'm still, oh god. All I know is that the other guys don't pop up at all until they hear.
Right. They know that she
right. She goes with Karia. So Kotone is in her world, and she goes with Karia to his appointment to see Mikado because of his, you know, fairy things. And then Mikado brings up that media is not good, and that the tree is like eating people, eating souls. And so because of that, and she's worried about, and then he tells her about Titania and something like that. And so because of that, she's worried. She comes back, she goes back, and she has Karia open up the gate so she can go. And then she meets Vinny, or she goes back to the cafe, and then Vinny comes out, and then she goes back to the media with him, and that's where she goes to go see Titania. And Titania is like, this is not a safe time at all. You know, the tree is like literally killing her because it got hurt. The tree got hurt actually by a random wormhole that popped up in media at the, and it's like attacking the tree.
It
And
like swallowed up part of the tree.
And so it's like killing. So now it's like really trying to suck the life out of Titania, obviously because it's hurt, and so that's when Katone comes back with Vinia, and obviously, and then that's how she ends up in the throne room.
Yeah, and then she gets
Yeah, I remember
thrown in. Vinia has come and said that she's, I guess, planted weakness around the tree to be able to get her sister out and then throw Katone in and attach Katone to the tree instead of Titania.
Yeah, and he does that to go ahead and because he heard the story about the island and the strongest people from other places, so he thought they're obviously going to want to save Katone's life, so they're going to come and they're going to kill the world tree. Yeah,
Right.
that's it. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm glad I remembered it.
I'm
I
glad
just
you
read
did
this not
too.
too long ago.
I know. I don't know why it's like, because memory, when you get old, like me. I'm old. I'm old. I've told you how old I am. I'm old. I went to the chiropractor today.
We're like 5 years from each other.
I went to the chiropractor and he's like, "How's your back doing?" I was like, "Not so good." I was like, "My hip hurts, my lower back hurts, my arm was doing this weird thing." I was like, "The base of my neck and the back was hurting." He's like, "It sounds like a lot." I was like, "It was a lot." Anyway, so that happens. So then Canus finds out that she's there because Venya is like using this like communicator or some sort of like flower. Oh, it's a flower. She's using flower or he's using flowers to like send communication to Canus. So then he just starts freaking the fuck out. Like literally just tearing everything apart.
He's being attacked by soul eaters. So
Yeah.
apparently the tree was able to produce all the fairies that were killed, all the world tree brides, and turn them into soul suckers. And they were all attacking the fairies. And obviously Canus, he never bad person, and so like he actually started saving the fairies. So he was busy doing that, and then Vinia contacted, and then he could hear Katone screaming for her life because like the tree is like literally like wrapping around her and pretty much like suffocating her and almost like eating her skin. It sounded like she said she was like feeling like her flesh was being taken out of her hands or something like that. It said, oh god.
Yeah, she's pretty much being tortured and having her life sucked out of her. So yeah, that's the thing that happened in this route. That kind of sucks. And of course, Candace comes, eventually saves her. They
all
do.
the other ones pop up too. All the other guys also
Well,
because
of course.
they heard from Karia that she went to Medio, and they heard from Rindo what was going on in Media. So all the other guys pop up, and they help Canis try to go rescue the fairies and go rescue Katone. And God, like that's another thing. I was like shocked. Like I hated Vidya when he went ahead and like pushed Katone, and like he was like just saying that, like. It was really sad too because Titania was so hurt by it. She was like screaming Katone and crying about it, friends. And she was just I thought that you were I was happy. I thought that you were finally making friends. I guess Venia, has only been actually close to Titania and obviously their older sister who's no longer around anymore. And she feels like and I guess she felt like that Venia was just like giving up his life pretty much to not have a happy life. So she was all happy that he was possibly making friends and going to Cafe Enchante and stuff like that. And then here he does this and makes them both switch places. But obviously Titania is really, really so she really can't do anything else anymore. Also, Vinny is like holding her back, so she can't save Titania either.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
well, she can't just take her out either because she could only remove Titania, but didn't consider like how to remove
anybody else.
Katone,
yeah.
Right.
Because I guess it took a while. Like it took lots of like baseball videos, like lots of like strategic like planning to get her out of that throne like once. That wasn't it. And yeah. So then Canus does eventually get there with the help of everybody. And they saved all the fairies. They're all in Cafe Enchante. At least the ones that are left living.
Right.
And then Canus ends up in the throne room. Oh yeah, but before that and stuff like that, you remember her Kotone went ahead and like said like a big thing ended up hitting Canus and making like saying that he really wanted to go save her and definitely to go rescue her is on her last moments, she's obviously in lots of pain, she's struggling for her life and stuff like that, yet here she is, she still bothers to say that she believes in Canus and that she knows that he'll come rescue her. Pretty much, I believe in you.
Mm-hmm.
And also, she refused to hate Vinia too. Is good on her. I would have hated her. I'd be like, I don't want to be friendly. I don't want to see you again. I hate your guts. But like, she was like, she forgave Vinia for what he did.
Yeah.
I was like, and she saved them too. Remember, like she was actually sacrificing her life even more so by actually kind of like binding with the tree a little bit to go ahead and stop the tree from attacking Vinny and them once all the fairies were taken out of Medio.
Mm-hmm.
She was actually like stopping it. I was like, God, it was like this route. I was not expecting it. It's like I mean, I had no clue where the story was going. So when all of a sudden this stuff all happened, I was like, dang.
But then we get a happy ending, though.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Because since the world tree dies, I mean, it's pretty much a barren land, but all the fairy spirits that it consumed were freed. Or all the spirit of, like, everything, like the flowers and everything that it consumed, like, its spirits were, like, replanted and rebloomed, so to say. So they told Kotone not to come to Medio until it was more of a land or world than not a world. And then Canus told Kotone, since the world tree has died, you should be feeling better because the energy that it took away from you is going to be coming back. But because you were linked to the tree, you're also going to be like receiving like fairy like not powers, but like fairy energy. I don't know how to like explain it.
Yeah, some kind of fairy
Stuff.
Nesis.
Some sort of fairy juju or something.
Mm-hmm.
So she listens to him, but then he is like, hey, let's go to Medio. And she was like, oh, okay. So she goes to Medio. And that's when she finds, like, there's some, like, plants growing and flowers growing. And, like, Canus is, like, in charge of the whole thing where he's, like, teaching all the fairies how to, like, grow things. And now the fairies kind of, like, look up to him and everything. And then we get a super, super cute little CG here.
Yeah, that happens in the epilogue after the main story.
Well, yeah. But it's still the end. Still the end. Mm-hmm. We get an actual end. We don't just get, like, left off, like, yay, they're alive. Like, sometimes you're like, but where's my actual end?
Yeah.
Where's my actual good end? Like, come on, give me some juice. Give me the tea. So this was Wintie's favorite moment, or one of her favorite moments here.
It was so freaking cute. Like, I was like, oh my god. Steam was like even like more cute and stuff like that because he actually like obviously that marriage is like not even like a thing in Medio. So like he never actually heard of it. He ended up like hearing about proposing a marriage from like a magazine or something like that.
He did research because Titania all you know is Titania's seeding. She planted the seed in his brain and was like, look what humans do. This is why they do. She made him, like, he accidentally saw these magazines. Oh no, she quite frankly put these in his vision and was like, if you want to read some information about human behavior, like, that's what, because he was like, Titania's magazines. I was like, Titania put that, like, in your bedroom, was like, he's going to read this. He's going to figure it out. Because, like, what is it? Because Titania starts coming to the cafe all the time with Vinya, or without
great.
Vinya.
Yeah.
And, like, they start giggling about something and then, like, leave to go shopping. Like, come on. They went shopping for wedding stuff. Abso-freaking-lutely. Like, before he even asks her, like, they're, like, already, like, okay, I'm gonna be the maid of honor, you're gonna be, like, the groom, or not the groom, the best man, and it's, that's what happened.
Yeah, totally. It was just so fun. It was just, oh my god, it was so cute. He's just like, we don't normally do that. Yeah, from
Right.
Like, life with me. It was like, oh my god. And also, doing it like in like the reborn video as well,
Mm-hmm.
It's adorable. And like she says yes. It's just like, oh.
Well, of course she does. She loves her headless man.
Yeah. Like, oh, and before this part happened as well, in the previous CG you showed, where we actually get to see her all smiling and happy with the crying tears. That scene, she totally saw his face. Just putting that out there.
Yeah.
Because of her fairy, I think because of that fairy power thing.
Or essence of fairy.
Yeah, or something like that. I think they were also at his favorite spot in Midio before it actually got destroyed, like was all completely gone.
Yeah.
So this is like before it was reborn and stuff like that, before she came back after he proposed to her. So it was just so freaking, like, I think this is my favorite scene, because just like you see the tears in her eyes, and like, I thought they were going to show us his face, not gonna lie. I was like, oh my god, actually gonna see his face? No. No face for our headless guy. We're never gonna see a face. Sad days.
I don't think that she'd ever want to tell him if she could see his face now, because then he'd be like more cautious of like his expressions and the things that he did or does.
Yeah.
So, but that leads us to final thoughts. Do you want to share your final thoughts? On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this? How would you rate this route?
I would say probably like a 7.5.
Yeah,
I wish there was a little bit more romance in it. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
just a tad bit.
Yeah,
but I mean, like it was really surprising. Like I said, like with the whole prologue being kind of like all over the place, really knowing like where the story was gonna go. And then figuring out pretty much that each route is like kind of like its own story, standing on its own as well. I mean, I liked it. Like I was surprised because, like I said, I didn't like Canus at all because he's headless. I was just like, how can you make me like a headless Otome guy? I can't.
Yeah.
But I ended up liking him. Like
you wanted a little bit more. You wanted that juicy scene, and you can't have that juicy scene because he has no face.
Yeah, it makes me sad. I don't think they kiss each other at all. Like, how would they even kiss? I
think someone's getting a little technical here.
Unless she kisses like his flame, I don't know.
Sure, why not? I mean, that works. That could work.
Yeah, so that's my thoughts. Really, it's just like it could have been. It wasn't bad though. Like it, I don't know. Like, got lots of character development. I think, especially with like just Canus, like kind of like figuring out that he has to like express himself a bit more too, and not be so like. Because he was also the only one I think that was like more so like kind of like Father's Cafe, and he even said that himself. Like everybody else kind of was like eventually they were, reserved about it at first, except for Mizir. But like then they all kind of like got used to it. But like Candace was still the only one that was kind of still thinking about her grandpa, even when she was supposedly taking over the cafe.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I liked it. What about you?
7.5. I was thinking like a 6.5, 7
Mm-hmm.
ish, so about the same as you. It is a very, very, very pretty game. It is a very, very, very good story, and it was done very, very well. But I just feel like for us English speaking, reading Otome fans in the West, just need some like Doki Doki moments. Like, give me, like, it doesn't have to be like Little Miss Lonesome, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to be like to that extent, but like, I wish they would ask us what kind of games we want to like, just like, even if it's just people throwing out a whole bunch of titles, just to be like, okay, what's related to these what's the kind of content is related to these titles? Maybe it's because people keep asking about Diabolic Lovers that all they want is like this like edgy stuff.
But Diabolic Lovers isn't so edgy.
It's edgy, girl. Have you seen that
edgy.
anime?
I know. Okay, it is
Ma'am,
edgy.
it
It is
is.
also like
It is
spicy.
borderline R18. Come on now.
True.
You know.
I know. Okay. So maybe that's
Girl.
why. Yeah.
Like,
But I
as
don't think
much
they're
as I
gonna.
like that kind of edgy stuff, but at least there's like those moments that's gonna like make your heart skip probably in Diabolic Lovers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're still gonna have cute moments too when they
Like,
actually are nice to the main
right?
character.
They're not all assholes all the time. Tired. But like, I don't know. There's a moment. I feel like Magicoon Renaissance would be a really good game to play. I've read about a few moments and I'm like, ooh, I bet those are good.
Renaissance, yeah, I like that. I like that anime. I wish they would bring the game here. There's so many games I wish they would bring here,
Yeah. But I know a lot of people keep asking for Udo no Prince Sama, but I don't think that's ever gonna happen. I'm still waiting for, was it Jack and Jean?
you're still waiting for that one. Yeah, they haven't made any
They
announcement
had that
bringing this
tweet
one.
like a year ago where they're like, we're looking for localizers in the West, and I was like, well, then there's that other company now that wants to localize Otome games. Oh, what is it
PQ.
called? Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm wondering what they're gonna even like go because unfortunately I don't think they'll be able to do any Automate because I think Aksys is the one that has like the contract with Automate. So that's a little sad, but I wonder what kind of games they're thinking of possibly bringing here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I overall so far I've liked Enchante. I'm just like waiting for like a couple of things, more like I guess more plot as well. Because like I said, I just feel like this game's just so disjointed. Not gonna lie, like I'm like even just like kind of thinking about like how I'll explain it to somebody. It's like, well, as many stories all together in one story, and there'll probably be a main plot eventually, but you won't figure it out until way later. Just
Right.
like kind of like that. So it's definitely like different compared to all the other ones that we've played so far. That like obviously could realize we knew automatically the story plot there, and Color X Mouse we knew exactly where we were going with that one, and everything else kind of you knew exactly where you
Right.
except for this one. So yeah. We'd love to hear what everybody else thought of this route. When you guys play it and stuff like that. If you guys played it already, what's your guys' candidates? Did you like the headless person? Did it bother you not seeing the head?
It bothered me a little bit.
It did me too. Oh god, I'm kind of glad we played him first.
It's not even like he was part ghost and he didn't have like legs or or something like that. He didn't have a head.
Yeah. But
at least they did good with the flames, though, you know?
Yeah, with the emotions. If they didn't do that, then I would have just been like, it would have made it like, what are you guys doing?
Right.
But yeah.
Who's next? Do you know the answer to this question?
Ignis.
Hey, our fire boy. How you doing, sir?
Our tsundere, 100%. I'm actually really looking forward to his rap. I actually started really liking him a lot. What we got in the prologue. So, like, and best of all, he has a head, so.
He does have a head. He has a full body, head to toe. Head to toe.
Yeah.
And flames.
Beautiful.
And abs.
Oh, yeah, abs for days. Oh, God. But yeah, looking forward to his route. So hopefully we'll have that for you guys all soon.
Yeah. Now it's time for bed. I'm an old man. Oh, old man. I'm an old woman.
You're old man.
I am. I'm that too. I'm everything. When I'm tired, I'm everything. I'm a tired cat. I'm a tired dog. I'm a tired man. Tired woman. I'm a tired bird. Everything. Just tired. I'm the definition of tired. But yeah, so let us know what you think. Leave your opinions. Did you start with Canus? Please don't leave any spoilers for other routes below in the comments, because someone may have not read a specific route. Yeah. That's it. I think that's it. And we will talk to you next time. If you want to follow us anywhere, you can always follow us on Twitter. My Twitter is cookingkoala2_0. And Wintie, where can they find you?
Yuki Hanabi X on Twitter.
And don't you have a YouTube?
Oh yeah, and Yuki Hanabi X also at YouTube.
But everything will be linked below.
I have a YouTube.
YouTube? I have one of those? What? I mean, same. Sometimes I forget I have one too, so it's okay. It's not like I'm popular or anything.
Oh, don't worry, neither am I. Yeah, we hope you guys all enjoyed. Definitely also let us know if you guys suggest maybe a different way of possibly discussing these doing the routes and stuff like that. This is obviously our very first route story podcast we're actually doing. We didn't exactly know how we were gonna do it. So
yeah. But you know what? Maybe Ignis's podcast will be a little different. You never know.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
It'll probably be different. I keep changing things up. I'm not consistent. That's what I do. Oopsies. But yeah, definitely let us know what you thought. And yeah, that's it. See you later. Bye.
See you guys later. Bye.